Join us this Sunday as we worship with the street. Today's worship is a retrospective. The music sung by the Intergenerational Gospel Choir was recorded in 2003. The soloist is Sheila Ramsey. The sermon preached on Good Friday, 2004 at Greater Mount Sinai Baptist Church as a part of the annual United Front for Christ's 7 Last Words, will remind you of the joy and the pain of this season. Be blessed, my brothers. Be blessed, my sisters.
chapter 23 and verse 46, you find the words, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Over now, almost 4 decades of ministry, I have stood by the bedside of the dying and have heard their last words. Some uttered profanity as they approached the darkened corridor leading to the other world. Some screamed in fear as if they were dragged by unseen powers through the veil separating the present from the future. Some were silent, their voices hushed by death. Some uttered only a grunt, a sigh of relief, as if they had finally been set free from the oppressive forces that had slaved them on this side of the gulf. A few, unafraid of the darkness, speak deliberately to their survivors, giving them instructions for the handling of their earthly remains and the care of their earthly possessions. Their words, remarkably convincing, assure us that these final words are not the babble of a disoriented soul, rather the words of a devotee who has made peace with his Maker and faces death, not as a vanquisher, but as a victor. Jacob, the patriarch of Israel, called his sons about him and blessed and charged them, saying, I am to be gathered unto my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave in the field at Machpelah. The priestly writer of Genesis ends Jacob's story with a concluding epilogue and says, and when Jacob had made an end to commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet into the bed and yielded up the ghost and was gathered unto his people. William Cullen Bryant admonishes us that we are to so live that when thy summons come to join the innumerable caravan that moves to that mysterious realm where each shall take his chamber in the silent halls of death, thou goest not like the quarry slave at night scourged to his dungeon, but sustained and soothed by an unfaltering trust, approach thy grave like one who wraps the drapery of his couch about him and lies down to pleasant dreams. The faithful in every generation bequeath to us their example, an example that would inspire and encourage us as we face the final hour. Come with me to Calvary Summit. 3 crosses stand on this skull-shaped hill, and on these 3 crosses are 3 dying men, one dying in sin, one dying for sin, and one dying from sin. Each is different. One, a rabble, dying the way he had lived, whose words are foul to the very end. One, a sinner, showing the courage to break with his sordid past and beginning life anew in eternity. And one, a man of peace, whose words calmed anxious fears and eased troubled hearts. We've heard all 3 speak. The words of the rabble, well, forget about them, at least for the moment. The words of the sinner, as a fellow sinner, take comfort in them. The words of Jesus, learn from them the way to face our final hour. Luke describes with great pathos the crucifixion of our Lord Christ. He says, then Jesus crying with a loud voice, this is no whimper, or hardly audible sound. No, this is a loud cry. A loud cry. Crucifixion is a terrible way to die. This cruel and inhumane way of torture left its victims with a burning thirst. Exhausted, the victims could hardly find the energy to utter a few words, let alone 7 words. And yet our Lord Christ cried with a loud voice. In other words, he shouted for all to hear. This is not then a painful lament, the mournful grief latent outburst reflecting the excruciating pain endured by our Lord Christ. No, this is a proclamation, a testimony intended to be heard and understood by those who stood at the foot of Calvary's cross. Jesus did not want any to ask the question, what did he say? There would be no mistaking of his words. And therefore, with a loud voice, he said, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. That's what he wanted the crowd to hear. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. His words cannot be mistaken. In a loud cry, the crowd heard him. They, no matter how indifferent they might have been, could not forget these last words of Christ. I said that we should learn from the last words spoken by the faithful. And Jesus teaches us that we should always pray. Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. This is a prayer. He who had made God the center of his life and his life's work still clings to that center when life is thrown into chaos and life's work is ended. He had called God Father in the plains of Galilee and in the mountains of Judea. He had called God Father when life was at its best and when times were the happiest. He had called God Father when he was surrounded by friends and well-wishers. He had called God Father when miracles made him popular and the envy of every self-styled Messiah. He had called God Father when he preached with authority and shamed every educated PhD theologian. He had called God Father when he mesmerized the multitude and spoke a language that even waters obeyed. If God is Father in good times, then God is Father in bad times. And may we all learn from Jesus that we should always pray and not faint. I said that we should learn from the last words spoken by the faithful. Well, Jesus teaches us that trust in God is the final act of every believer. Into thy hands I commend my spirit. Jesus was saying, God, I trust you with the one thing that matters most in life. What matters most to you tonight? What matters most to me? What matters most to our world? Well, is it money? Is it earthly possessions? Is it prestige? Is it power? Is it our reputation? What matters most in life? Is it our ministry? Is it our goal? Is it our silver? What matters most in life? Is it our bodies? What matters most in life is our spirit. In fact, we are to fear him who has the power to destroy both body and spirit. Those who scream at the final hour scream because they have no one to trust. Those who curse at the final hour curse because they have no one to trust. Those who complain at the final hour complain because they have no one to trust. Imagine having someone in the final hour of life whom we can trust. We've all been betrayed in life. We become suspicious of one another. We question the motives of even him who seems well intentioned. But we all need somebody. We can tell our secrets to, who won't divulge the secrets. We need somebody we can get close to. Somebody we have no doubt that when we are in deep, deep trouble, will come to our rescue. We all need somebody we can trust. And I know of no better person Jesus said, Father, I trust you. And I'm giving to you that which matters most. Imagine now, and listen, just moments ago, he said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? My God. Now he says, Father. Into your hands I give you my spirit. Luke, the physician, says after Jesus, having said these words, he breathed his last. Or in the language of the black Baptist preacher, he said he put his head in the locks of his shoulder and said goodbye. But not only did he say goodbye, he said good morning. The battle is fought. The victory is won. Father, I'm coming home. The last drop of blood for sin has been shed. Father, I'm coming home. Gabriel, sound your trumpet. Father, I'm coming home. Satan has been defeated. Father, I'm coming home. Hell has lost its claim. Father, I'm coming home. Michael, get my mansion ready. Father, I'm coming home. Death has been vanquished. Father, I'm coming home. The grave has lost its sting. Father, I'm coming home. Angels, get my scarlet robe. I'm coming home. Archangels, get my diadem. I'm coming home. Sin has been conquered. Sickness has no more power. I'm coming home.
Thank you for listening today. I hope you have been blessed by the message. Don't forget that your contribution is sorely needed. Either use one of the online giving platforms, PayPal, Cash App, or mail your contribution to the church. It is critically important that this ministry not fail during this period of crisis. God bless you and keep you is my prayer.